Well, hello, hello, hello. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this live stream. Hope you're all doing good today, and yeah, hopefully you can hear and see me just fine. I think I'm coming in a little low. I might just crank the volume just a little bit so you can hear me a little bit better. Today's just going to be a bit of a hangout stream. Questions and answers if you have any, but if you don't, then no problem. We can just hang out and chat for the next for the next 60 minutes or so. I'm just going to unplug my headphones because I can hear them. I put the volume up really loud before I went live so I could hear them clearly, and I could hear them a little too clearly there. But yeah, I see lots of people coming in from all over the place, which is excellent. Thank you so much for joining the live stream. We have folks from Denmark. Oh, I scrolled way too far there. From Denmark, yes. Jonas is watching from Zoom, whatever that means. Steve's watching from Beverly Hills in California. Beverly Hills. I can't say that without thinking of a TV show of some sort. Um, Dripping Springs from Texas. From Randy's watching from. Good old MT watching from Germany. A few other folks from the UK here. Nathan, and we have Netherlands, Belgium. Dolby in Sweden. Hey, Oriane, thanks for checking in. Glasgow, all over the world, all over the place, which is excellent to see. Thank you so much for tuning in wherever you're tuning in from. Like I said, I've got lots of bits and pieces to, just get through today, chat about, answer any questions if you have them for the next 30 minutes or so. We'll just sit here in the show and talk about all sorts of stuff. And then in the post show, we can just chat about a little more casually about all the same sort of stuff. I have some new audio set up. You can see my microphone over here, and it's configured differently. I have some new lighting stuff to go over that I just got delivered today, and I have a couple of super chats popped in too, which I almost missed there. Thank you so much, Petra. You are the first super chat today. Happy Monday. Have a nice cup of coffee. Excellent. Thank you so much. For some reason, it's not popping up on my screen. Is that it there? There it is. Thank you so much, Petra. I appreciate it a lot. I don't know why it didn't auto trigger. Maybe I turned that feature off on this one. Um, yeah, I did actually. I turned that off. So let me just turn that back on again for no good reason. And yes, Camille, thanks for the info, and thank you for the super chat. That's an excellent way to start the stream. A couple of super chats coming in nicely. I appreciate it a lot. Um, so, hello from a bunch of other places, which is really excellent. Thank you for tuning in, spending your Monday morning, evening, afternoon, night, whatever time it is, watching along. Greetings, just got my ATEM, some pies on the way. This adventure continues. Excellent to hear. The Woozle effect. Yeah, from last week's stream, talking about the companion. No, not companion pie. We're talking about Playout B, Jonas, who's here in the chat today. We went through his Playout B software, how it runs on a Raspberry Pi, and I think that in the last week or so, there's been a lot of people purchasing Raspberry Pis. That's for sure, which is really excellent to see. I'm really happy with that. That folks are supporting him, and I think um, he's gotten plenty of emails in the last week about ideas, improvements, maybe some issues along the way. So, but I know he's been very responsive, which is excellent. Um, so I'm sure I'll make more videos about that in the future as it evolves over time. But so far, it's been working really nicely for me. The Playout B. So I recommend checking it out. And I guess the 15% coupon code from last week is already out of date. So if you didn't get a chance to grab that, then that's a shame. Oh, and thank you, new member MT, Struyenung, Struerung, MT Struerung. I always say MT just to make it a bit easier on myself, but I think I can at least try your full name today since you became a member. So thank you so much for becoming a member and a super fan as well. Excellent. Just as a heads up, if you're watching live, you can watch the post show here live today. But if you're not watching live and you're watching this on demand, then the post show is for members only, just like MT there. So thanks for popping in. And I realized that lots of other people said hello from Finland and from a couple of people from Portland. I thought that was two people from Poland there. But Aaron, yeah, from Portland, of course, and Here, Andy's watching from Warsaw, which is excellent. Thank you. And then a lot of people said hello to Aaron. We're kind of like the Sunday Monday live streaming. I usually either watch his live or watch it during Monday at some point, and then base what I'm going to talk about based on that. No, not really. Hello from Edinburgh, all over the place. Excellent. Thank you so much. If you do have any questions, you can feel free to throw them in the YouTube chat as always. You can write here to record on there so I can see it real big, but otherwise, I'm sure I'll follow back and check out all the comments at some point. So I think I'll just give you a quick little update about what I was up to. It looks like the internet is holding out well today, which is always good. I was up on the roof this weekend making some improvements. So last week, all of a sudden during the week, not during my live stream, but on Tuesday or Wednesday, the internet just totally tanked and it wasn't so happy. That's maybe because the two antennas that I have on the roof, which I've sort of talked about before, they were just sort of sitting on a piece of wood. Now it's not going to get much better than that, and that's my warning. But I'll upgrade the wood in this story. So I went up on the roof and I tried to rework things, and I came up with a little mini design. Just here's a photo I took from the roof. You can see there that I've got the laptop up on the roof so I could test stuff out. And I made this little another little makeshift design here for angling the two antennas. You can see them both there kind of nicely. The one here at the front is like an omnidirectional one, and then there's a more pointed one in the background. I've got a better angle of it right here. So you can see kind of what I built. This is not a long-term solution. None of my things seem to be a long-term solution, but it'll work nicely. And yeah, you're absolutely right, Petra. I'm just saying what you said there. You're absolutely right. That I don't want to forget about Saturday. Petra goes live every Saturday on over on Tech Condo. So we have 3 days in a row. Saturday you can watch Tech Condo. Sunday you can watch Aaron, and then Monday you can watch me. So yeah, you're absolutely right. My apologies. And then, so back to this photo here. So I built this little wooden structure so I can directionally point these antennas the way I want them. But I built the structure on the floor or on the ground, and I didn't want to build it on the roof. And so I kind of came up with a makeshift. It looks like a rocket. MT says you're absolutely right. A makeshift little way of building it on the ground, so I had some room to play with. So you can see here this piece on the front has all these holes drilled into it. And I guess you can see here that the reason for that is the screw is attached to that one. And then when I got up on the roof, I could change the screw to a different hole so that I could adjust the angle. Now, I wouldn't say, I'm not the best engineer. I'm not going to change the world with my design, but it actually bounced back the internet speed, not to its previous excellent condition, but it definitely bounced back. So I was more than happy to see that it made a difference. That's always good. And yeah, it looks a bit like a rocket launcher. It does. I wouldn't want the wrong person to see it, or a cannon. The police might see it on the roof and get suspicious, but I think it works really nice. And thanks for the plug. No problem. If you haven't watched Tech Condo, I was just watching a video today from the channel. Petra made a video about one of the Scarhoy devices, the QuickPad, I think it's called. So you can check out that video over on Tech Condo. But it's a really neat little device that pairs nicely with an ATEM from Scarhoy. I've talked about their products before on the channel here. So it's it works. It's a really cool little button device. So check it out. Graham asks, I wonder if those two antennas are too close together, and I don't think they should be too close to a metal roof. Yeah, the first point is fair. Maybe they are too close together. This is very much a V1. Well, this is more like V2, but it's still early days. As for the metal roof, there's not much I can do about that. I don't really have any other places that I can attach it to. I can take it away from the metal roof in the future for sure, but this was once again let's say short-term, a slightly better short-term fix than my previous extremely short-term fix, which was just a piece of wood sitting underneath them. So it's it's getting better every time. And Petra, thank you so much. Now you're blushing. That's good to hear. I'm happy to hear that. So What speed did you get from that connection? Interestingly, a few weeks ago, if you asked me that, I was getting like 40 down and about 10 to 15, maybe even 20 up on a good day. And then last week I was getting maybe between 5 or so down and like 1 up. And now today, I did a test before I came on here. I was getting about 15 down and 10 up. A lot of numbers. Apologies for all the numbers, but um, enough to stream. It's streaming right now at between 4 and 5 um, megs a second, so that's perfectly fine for me. Streaming medium on the A10 Mini Extreme, and it's working nicely. So, fingers crossed and all. Ali says I need some of their 19 decibel, whatever LTE doodads. Yeah, I mean, if you have something you want to send to me to make it even better, then do it. I'm not gonna stop anybody from sending stuff my way. That's for sure. In the tree, yes, in the tree would be a good place to mount the stuff for sure. I'm again another thing I'm limited by is the cable length that's attached to the antennas. Now, of course, I could change that, but if I show you that photo again, the cables come out of the antennas here and they go down the side of the building, and then they come into the building over there, and there's just enough room for that. So I could get different ones or extenders. Oh, I still have my lines there. I could get that stuff, of course, but whenever you want the internet to work and you just want it to happen like today, then you don't really spend the time finessing it too much and going to get more stuff. Sometimes you just want to make it work. So that's a little behind the scenes on my weekend project, and it was working well. You're pulling about 60 megs over a single LTE in rural Scotland. That's excellent. I was getting much better speeds before, so I've got some work to do again, but it's not something I enjoy doing. So, we'll see if I over time. And Steve coming in with metal roof ground plane might be more efficient. I'm sure if anyone actually has really good suggestions for all this stuff, then send me an email after the show here and give me some thoughts, and maybe over the next week or two I can keep on improving it. So for sure, bring it on in. Let me see. Questions, comments, all sorts of stuff, which is excellent about that. So just as a secondary update, I thought I've been talking about this box that I've been using for live streaming for the last few weeks. It's on the table here, and I thought, I didn't set up another camera. I just took some photos of it before I went live here. And during these photos, I can show you some of the updates that are coming in today. So here's the infamous, or that what I'm calling infamous plywood box on the table here, V3 maybe, and on front of that I have that C-Tech monitor that the A10156. I think there's a link to that below this in this video description if you want to check that out. And then just today I've made a small adjustment with my microphone where I've put it on in the front here. This is something I never really did much before, have the microphone right in front of me. But the more I think about it, the more it doesn't matter. Like, I'm obviously using a microphone. No one's surprised by that. And I've been so keen to hide it away in the, Camille, thank you so much for the super chat. For Jonas, for it's Play Out B. Much thanks. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm not going to send that to Jonas. I'm going to keep that myself. But thank you for sending it my way. I will thank him on your behalf, even though he's watching here. But yeah, like I was saying, I've been thinking that I would hide this microphone away, but the more I think about it, the more it doesn't really matter. I'm obviously using one, so, and it's going to be better sound if I can get it a little bit closer. And I've made some other adjustments. This could be a terrible idea or a great idea. Classic live statement. But I'm using the, being very careful. I'm using the Hollyland Link, no, not Link, Hollyland Lark 150, little sender box here. And carefully putting it back. Sorry for all the rumble. And that's wirelessly sending the audio over to my ATEM in the cupboard over there. So the receiver is attached to the cupboard. No, it's attached to the ATEM. and it's kind of hanging out of the cupboard, and it's getting the audio into the ATEM. So as much as I don't like to rely on batteries or wireless, I'm today relying on it 3 times. One for the microphone because it's running on battery. One for the Lark sender and one for the Lark receiver. So they're all running on battery. So if audio goes down at some point during this live stream, which reminds me, I turned off my audio meters on my multi-view. And if you bear with me for a second, I'm just going to turn it back on. There we go. I can see it even better now. Good. So if audio goes down, then you'll know why. But I think, and Jonas was actually helping me with this just a little bit earlier today. We've have a sort of a weekly call now that we're just checking in with each other, being two freelance developers. It's nice to chat to somebody about it. So so we chat to each other, and he was telling me how bad my audio was this morning. Very nice of him in this morning's call. And then I went away and I tried my best to fix it. So it turned out some cables were the issue. But now with this solution, it works nicely. I just need to remember to charge all this stuff. That is always the problem. And then one last photo just I want to show you here before I look back at the chat again. I'm sure there's I see a few questions popping in. This is the back of the plywood box. So I just wanted to show you what it looks like back there. So I have this power rail here, and it actually has a couple of USB connections over on this side, which I really like about it. And then I have this little patch panel at the top too, which makes it much more convenient to set all this stuff up. The whole idea of this box is I can set it on the table, use it when I need it, and then take it away when I don't. And the nice thing about the patch panel, obviously, is that I can plug in stuff. So you can see a bunch of SDI ones in here, but they're actually not doing anything right now. This is an old patch panel I used on my old ATEM television studio HD. See, I've forgotten the name of it now. It's so old. The fly pack I used to use for that. So that was all the SDI that I used for that. But now I'm just using these HDMIs. So I have one for my camera. Oh no, sorry, one for the ATEM's program feed. That's what this one is. Another one for my camera going back to the ATEM, and then a network cable here. Now, there's not much network stuff in the box, except for, you can't quite see it over here, but there is a little box in the back here, and this network cable just connects right into that box, and that box is a Raspberry Pi with USB connecting into this XL Stream Deck here, which is just sitting on my desk in front of me, and what I'm using to do all of the ATEM control, because I've got the ATEM in the cupboard over there. I can't press any of the buttons anymore, so I have to use all of the buttons on the Stream Deck or in the software control, which I quite like. I quite liked the idea of, and I know Aaron was talking about this yesterday on the stream, and it's something I've been thinking about a lot too, which is it would be nice to have the brains of an ATEM Mini now, or even the ATEM Mini Extreme, or an even higher end one, rack mountable, or basically buttonless, just sitting somewhere as the brains of an operation. So for my case, not having the ATEM Mini Extreme on the table here means that I have to pull all the buttons onto the Stream Deck instead, but that's perfectly fine because I only really use one page worth of buttons, so it doesn't really matter that much to me. Looking back in the chat, now that I've showed you all the photos, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. I'm sure mount the antennas on Aaron's ATEM frame. Yes, I will do that when it comes. I've been talking to Aaron a little bit about that. I haven't quite gotten the ATEM Mini Extreme stand that he sent me, and that's been like a month now. But I have gotten some updates about it, and I know it's slowly making its way here. So when that comes, I'll definitely do that. What camera are you using? Lord Bowser wants to know. This is the GH5 that I'm using. I've had it for years now, and I really like it. I have a G7 as well from Panasonic, but I do prefer the GH5 for the most part. It's got much more features. I have it here, so I'm more than happy with it. Yeah, so I'm really happy with it. It's really nice. And no, Aaron, the stand still hasn't arrived. I guess I haven't updated you on that in a little while. Basic question here from Show G Productions. There's no basic questions. Everything's a valid question, definitely. Have you posted a tutorial video focused on how to set up ATEM Mini Pro for live streaming to YouTube? I guess I haven't really made a quite so like beginner explaining that stuff. It's now that I have more time to make things, I really want to get into more of those sort of basic ideas. I never really had time, I felt, before to kind of get into that nitty gritty details. So that might be a really good idea for like a series of videos, the basics of ATEM minis. What's amazing, I'm still so surprised by, is people are still getting into the ATEMs. It felt a bit like everybody who was going to buy one already did, but I know that's not the case. People are still buying loads of them, so there's always valid stuff. And thank you for answering the question before I got to it. The GH5, yes, you're right. And the mic sounds good, Steve says. Thank you so much. If you compare this to previous times, I'm sure you'll be. It's much better, definitely. Mix the mic with a lav. Jason says, I'm not sure what you mean. In this case, I could get the lav out again from the Lark 150 and see how that sounds. If it sounds any different, but I don't remember where I put it in the room, so I don't want to go look for it. And yes, patch panel. I do like a good patch panel. Any excuse to make a patch panel. I'm not avoiding your question here, Reggie, if that's correct. Best laptop for streaming on YouTube. It's a good question. I know you've asked it a lot, so I'm going to answer you now before we go any further. I don't think I could say best. I've only used a few laptops in the past, but recently I've seen the Razer blades working really well. So I would stick to somewhere in that line. I wouldn't cheap out if I was going to get a laptop to do this stuff. I wouldn't cheap out if I was going to use a computer to do live streaming in general, but I certainly wouldn't cheap out if I was going to get a laptop. I would try to save up and get one that has all the features that are needed. In my case, I would run vMix on it if I was going to use a laptop, and in that case, I would look at what vMix recommends on their website and follow that specifically, so that you don't just get a laptop. Hopefully, it'll work, and it doesn't work the way you think it would. So, if that helps at all, give that a go. The Woozle Effect. I just tried out your H2R SuperSource Layouts app. Yeah, I hope it was good. Oh, you followed up a comment right after that saying it worked fantastic. That's great. I'm super happy with that. It's one of those applications that was a quick idea. I built it fast. I released it, and since then, people are still purchasing the pack that I sold, and I know people are still using the site, but no one really mentions it much. I think it's just one of those things. It does exactly what it said it would. There's no need to complain about it. There's no need to mention it. It just kind of does what it does. So thanks for watching. Question: I'd love to have a way of always turning the upstream key 1 off whenever I switch to one of the specific HDMI inputs, regardless of the state of that key in the previous scene. Is there a way? If I was going to do that, off the top of my head, I would probably program. I would take something like a Stream Deck, and then program all the buttons into that Stream Deck the way I wanted. So camera 1 with the upstream keyer, camera 2 with the upstream keyer on, camera 3 with it off, for example, and camera 4 with it on. So then when you're pressing the buttons on the Stream Deck, it goes to the camera you want, and the upstream keyer is in the state that you want it to be. So I don't know if that helps off the top of my head, but that's the first way I would think about doing it, and I would try that out. Usually I find that if I can't do what I want to do in the ATEM software control right away, I don't consider macros all that much. I would go to the companion software first, and then maybe I would think about macros again. So companion is kind of my first answer to a lot of questions like that. So yeah, that's my answer. Alvin wants to know, do you know if you can run multiple applications on a Raspberry Pi? I'm looking at running with Companion and a Tally system. That's a good question. Let me have some water while I think. Well, you can definitely run multiple applications on a Raspberry Pi. That is for sure. My logic with Raspberry Pis is that it's such a small, inexpensive device, in my opinion. And it's perfect for single task stuff, I think. So in my case, I like to buy one per job. And that way I can just trust one Pi to do one job. And if, for example, I'm running Companion on it and it fails, then I can still use it to, what else did you want to do? Yeah, your Tally system wouldn't fail if the Raspberry Pi shut down. The other Raspberry Pi would still be running your Tally system. So I would probably try to look that way, just just to make sure that things don't fail on you. Camille says the H2R app is something that would be a live stream changer. H2R app. I'm not sure which of the many apps you're referring to, so but I'll take that compliment. Thank you. And Sergio, thank you for your content. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. 6 Minute Media. That's a good name. The changing hue of lights behind you are doing nothing for your skin tones, but distracting too. New mic sounds great. Oh yeah, let's talk about the light behind me while we still have 5 more minutes of showtime, because I didn't really intend for it to be like that the whole time. I was just playing around. I was going to take that away pretty fast, but I totally got distracted. Oh, cool. So this is what I wanted to talk about as well today, if I can remember how to get out of this mode. This is a couple of new lights I have in the studio. I got a couple of these nan lights, PavoTube 2 6C. I don't have any affiliate links. This is bad YouTube, John, but it doesn't matter. These are funky, cool little lights. They're like these little tubes, pretty small, pretty light. And you might have saw them already, but I have two now, and I showed one in the overhead there. If I just throw up that image again, you can just about see one there. I just set up today on a stand up above me, which is actually my key light today, and it's doing a much better job of a key light than my usual light setup, which is an old aperture light that I now am looking forward to getting rid of. What I like about these is they are tiny, so I have two of them, like I said. One will be key and one will be sort of accent or hair light or something like that. In this case, I was just messing around with it and I meant to take it away. I'm not really a fan of that sort of looping color effect. I wouldn't really use that much. But yeah, so my plan is, because previous to this I've been using big light stand to throw the other light up in the air. So it's going to be so nice to have a much cleaner, tidier setup. But what's neat about these is I guess I can show you this. I'll just show it to you on the camera here because, like I said, I forgot to set up another camera today. But you'll get the gist if I go in and focus on it right there. So you have some controls over on the side here. Dimming is down right now. If I just turn it up, will I get blinded? No. Okay. So there's that dim, and it's going a bit red. You can't quite see it on the camera there. But you have all these modes. So in this case, that was the colored effect that you saw before. And I can change the speed and the color range and stuff like that, which is quite nice. And there are other effects that I just accidentally discovered there, but we don't need to worry about those. You can set it up for a certain channel for remote control. And then in this case, this is like sort of a standard getting blinded in the background here, but this is just a dimming option. And then you can jump in, and if I press this one, I'm doing this backwards here, so forgive me. I can go through all of the temperatures you might want, so it's a very blue light now. And then you have the option of a single color. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. This is why you don't do this stuff back to front. There, okay, I'm back to the single color. So I can choose any sort of hue that I want here. So sort of a orange looking color here, yellowish. And it's a really neat little light. Let me just focus myself back up again here. There we go. Close enough. There. I'm blinded now. I can't see it. I can't see anything, so the focus will have to do. But ideally, I was going to just leave it as a little color behind me there. But you got the fun of it, definitely. So it's battery powered, as you can see. It's not connected to anything, and it has a USB there that you might have just seen. And right now, at about 20%, I did almost fully charge this before, but it's been running for a while, and it's running now at 20% output, and it's got 4.4 hours of battery running on it. So I can imagine it's going to last nicely for a long time. One of them is up there, like I said, and if I lean my head back, you can see the reflection of it there above me, but it should be just out of shot for the most part. I think I needed to do a little bit more correction, but I was messing around with something else before. But yeah, they're really cool. I really like them. I'm pretty happy with them, and I'll be using them plenty. Let me see if I can put that back behind me again. And now it's not so colorful, and it won't be as distracting. But thank you for reminding me about that. I lost your comment there. Yes, 6 Minute Media. Anyway, time flashed past very fast. Thank you so much for watching live. We're going to stick around for the post show. You don't have to go anywhere. Stick around on this link. I'll be back in a few seconds. I'm just going to do a break on the old tape and grab some water, and I will see you in a few seconds. Thanks again to MT for becoming a member and for the super chats in the chat so far. Really appreciate it. And a big thanks to the super supporters of the channel. Let me just throw this up now because I did get a new a member this week who upgraded, which was very kind of them, I must admit. And I did say that I will happily shout out anybody who becomes a supreme supporter of the channel. So far, we have CG Allerz, Joseph Israel, and Cloud Bedrock, all being super supreme supporters of the channel, which I really appreciate a lot. So I'll see you in a few seconds for the post show. Stick around if you're watching live. See you then. All right.